Denver. Good evening. My name is Joslyn. I'm head nutrition coach at FIT NU, and I'm going to be guiding you this evening through a nutrition session. If you had the pleasure of going through the fitness session with Brittany, you should be nice and relaxed, calm, feeling good. If you have not, you should definitely check out that video so that you can stretch and decompress. So first things first, whenever we're in the kitchen, we want to make sure that we're hydrated, especially if you're going to spend an extended amount of time in the kitchen preparing your food. Always pour you a glass of water or have a water bottle nearby. So if you have a water bottle or a glass, go ahead and fill that up with water and let's take a sip. All right, so today we are talking about how to lose weight, but specifically how to lose weight without dieting. So this dieting it's a trend. Everyone has done it at some point in the past, I'm sure. Some of us are currently doing it, but what I really want to teach you and empower you to do is to lose weight or reach your goal, whatever that may be, if it's losing body fat or increasing your muscle mass without dieting or without the restrictions. That will take some knowledge, and so that's hopefully what you will get from our session today. Please feel free to ask questions in the comment box, whether this is a replay of the video or not. I do look at the comments and I would love to address and answer your questions for you. All right, so to kick us off, we're going to be doing an experiment together. And so I have a couple things that I would like you to find in your kitchen so that you can participate with me. We're going to do this towards the end of our session. We'll spend about 30 minutes together, so we'll just get out what we need now. So I have sweet potatoes in front of me, but this is for a separate example. What I want you to get in front of you is dry rice or cereal or oatmeal, something like that. Dry something, cereal, rice, or oatmeal. Just one of those three. And then also get a measuring cup. This is a measuring cup I'm using. You could use a different style like the liquid version, doesn't matter. And then we also want some green leafy vegetables. Do you have any green leafy vegetables in your fridge? It doesn't matter if they're fresh or not. You can even get them out of the freezer, it's okay. But I want to show you how to portion vegetables on your plate. So I have some salad greens. Just grab that out of your fridge real quick. And then lastly, cooking oil. So whatever oil that you do cook with, just take that, keep it nearby, and I will tell you why later. Okay, so now that we have our materials out for our experiment, let's talk about the benefits of losing weight if you are overweight. So the number one benefit is that it reduces your risk of chronic disease. So when we have less body fat on our frame, if there's too much, then it's going to actually extend your lifespan because you're reducing the risk of diabetes, things like hypertension or high blood pressure, heart disease, stroke. And so it's important for us to be aware of our body fat. And I say that outside of weight because our weight is made up of so many other things. It's really the body fat that is built into our weight that increases our risk for chronic diseases like diabetes or heart disease. So with your weight, a lot of times when we're trying to lose weight, we're just standing on the scale, right? And we're looking at the number and we're waiting for it to go down. And if it goes up, it's a problem. But I don't want you to think that too much because there are so many other things that make up that number on the scale. There's the body fat percentage, like how I mentioned. There's also water. Did you know that you're about 50% water? Literally, if you took the number that you are on the scale, 50% of that number is just straight water. And that's because water is life. We need water to be in our blood. Basically, our blood is water. And the purpose of our blood, which a lot of times we don't think about, is to take the nutrients from our food and to transport it to our organs. And then we also need water inside of our cells. And so the cells in our body is what makes up everything that we're made of. Our skin, our organs, every single thing, our bones is made up of cells. And we want our cells to be hydrated and full of life. And so they need the water in order to do that. So your weight is body fat, your weight is water, your weight is also bones. We need our bones for our structure. And then we need muscle. We need muscle to support our bones, because if we don't have enough muscle, then you are putting yourself at risk of breaking bones or being fragile as you age. So all these things are really important to our life and our well-being. And so we're going to consider that when we're wanting to lose weight. Okay? Now, I'm just peeking real quick to see if there are any questions yet. Not yet. So, let's see. We talked about what we're made of. You guys got that? Body fat, water, bones, and muscle. So since we're made up of all those things, we have to fuel our body properly to maintain all four of those elements. So water is always at the top. Water, 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 more water. Speaking of water, let's take a sip. Okay, because remember, we're half water, so we need that in order to function. And then I want to talk to you about our food. So a lot of times when we are dieting, we have this mentality of restriction. Like all of a sudden, I'm going on this diet and I can't eat this, I can't eat that, I can't do this, I can't do that. And that mentality of restriction could backfire on you. Because if you're cutting all things off that you love all at once, like sugar, which is one of those things that we talked about in our last session, it could cause you to end your diet, and then you end up binge eating or overeating on things that you were restricting yourself from in the beginning. And so that's like a cycle that's quite unhealthy, and we don't want to go that route. So instead of restriction, let's think addition. So let's think more. Adding more is always more fun than taking things away. So when it comes to your diet, we want to figure out what is the more that we should add on that would help us lose body fat specifically. And I can tell you exactly what that is. And I'm going to break it down for you in macronutrients. So that is a word, or macros, it's a word that you may have heard before but don't necessarily know what it means. So macros, or macronutrients, are the big building blocks that our body needs in order to fuel us, to keep us growing and going. There are three of them. We have protein, carbohydrates, and fat. So these three nutrients are a requirement every day in large amounts. You might have also heard of a word called micronutrients. Micronutrients are things that we still need in order to keep growing and going, but we need those in smaller amounts. So those are things like vitamins and minerals. So we often find those, in our regular foods too, like this sweet potato has both macro and micronutrients. But other places you could find them in are herbs or like supplements. So those things you don't really need to build your plate with. So today I'm going to show you a tool. This is called the Meal Wheel Guide. This is a tool that Brittany and I at FIT NU actually designed to help you take the guesswork out of what to eat. And I'm going to give away one of these meal wheel guides today. All you have to do is just participate in some form or fashion over the next week by asking a question or commenting below. So the purpose of this meal wheel guide is to remind us of our macronutrients that we need to get in every meal all day long. So protein, carbohydrates, and fat. Protein is one that most people automatically go to as meat, right? You got beef, you got chicken, you got pork. Those things contain protein, but vegetables contain protein too. Beans and legumes contain protein as well. So those are some things that you can consider to add on your plate when you're wanting to fuel or add more instead of restricting to allow your body to release excess body fat. Carbohydrates. So carb is another word that's thrown out there that gets a bad rap, but unfortunately we cannot function without carbs. Literally, we cannot. So there are two versions of carbs that I want you to know about. There are smart carbs. I'll call them smart carbs. So smart carbs are going to be fruits and vegetables. And then there are the other carbs. Those are processed. So those are things like white flour, processed sugar, things that you often find in baked goods, pasta or starches, like rice. Those are still carbs, but they're starchy carbs. So when you're thinking about carbs, you want them on your plate. You don't not want them because they give you energy. It's what really fuels our body and allows us to go. It allows you to feel like you want to move more. So when you go on a diet that totally restricts all of your carbs, more than likely you'll feel burnt out. And that's not what we're going for, because we still want you to be healthy and active while eating right. The third category is fat. So the type of fat that we want is healthy fat. So these are going to be things that are really, really close to nature. So that's avocado, olives, nuts and seeds. If you're going for oils, those are fats too. But you want to be aware of the oils that you're consuming while you're cooking or that you're using to put over your salad. And just to like brief you on that real quick, some oils that you do want to have in your kitchen are going to be avocado oil. This is an oil that you want to use for high heat. So if you're cooking in the oven, then you use avocado oil. Another oil that's a staple to have in your kitchen for a healthy body fat loss or weight loss is going to be olive oil. So this oil is unfortunately misused in many households. A lot of people cook with olive oil on the stove, like medium or high heat. You don't want to do that to olive oil because it's very delicate and it has a low smoke point. So we still want to consume this, but this is best used on our salad greens. Okay? So now that we know our 3 macronutrients, I'm going to show you how to build your plate in the most helpful way possible. Okay? So grab yourself a plate. You should have some of those materials out. We're going to practice portioning our plate. I'm looking for a plate right here. Ta-da! All right. Oh, take a sip of water. Yes. Thank you. That was good. Everybody. Okay, we're hydrating. I'm looking through the comments real quick too. All right. So here we go. Tonight you're going to learn how to add more to your plate and have this mentality of addition instead of restriction so that you can lose weight or excess body fat. So the first thing that we're going to start with are our vegetables, which are carbohydrates. We need these. So we actually want vegetables. These are Brussels sprouts that I have, but I also have salad greens. We actually want those to be measured by the fistful, okay? So every time you eat a meal, at least lunch and dinner, bare minimum, your goal is to have 2 fists, 2 of your fists, yours might be bigger than mine, of vegetables. So the way you do that is I'm just taking a fistful of Brussels sprouts. Of course, I wouldn't eat these raw. Like, we would cook these first. And then, so that's 1 fist of Brussels sprouts that I put on my plate. And my goal is to have 2 fists of vegetables. So maybe I have some salad greens. I will go ahead and take the salad greens, kind of measure that by a fistful. Now I have 2 fists of vegetables. Okay, but this is not all we're gonna eat. Like, that's way too restrictive. We need more than that. We need protein, and we also need some healthy fat on our plate. So I don't have an example of protein, but that could be your choice. If you like fish, like maybe some salmon or tuna or boiled eggs or beans and lentils, whatever it is, we got to put it on our plate. But it's very important for us to know how much protein to put on there. So your goal is 1 palm size. So your palm belongs to you. That's your magic measurement. You want a palm size of protein on your plate. If we were like converting a palm to grams, this would be about 15 to 20 grams of protein, or about 4 ounces of protein if you measure your chicken or your fish that way, or your steak, okay? And so we will have that on our plate along with our 2 fists of vegetables. And our vegetables counts as a carbohydrate. We'll say that we have some chicken right here, counts as our protein, a palm size. And then we need some fat, but we don't need a lot of fat. So our fat measurement is going to be based on your thumb. So 1 thumb is equivalent to 2 tablespoons. Some examples of fat are things like, I don't know, say we had some ranch salad dressing, that would be a fat. Avocado, butter, nuts, seeds, cheese, those type of things, like the things that you automatically think about being fat is fat. That's about a thumb's worth. So that needs to go on our plate, but just a little. So for me, I'm gonna use olive oil as my choice fat to go over my salad. And so I would do about a thumb's worth, which is 2 tablespoons. Can you see that? It's not a lot. So even if olive oil was not your choice for salad dressing, say you're not there yet and you just really enjoy ranch, cool, put your ranch on your salad, but measure that out. Make sure that you're not exceeding your thumb amount. It may take some getting used to, but you could do it. I believe in you. And so you just pour the dressing over your greens. We would have some nice steamed Brussels sprouts, seasoned well with our chicken, and voila, we have a full meal. So, any questions about that? That's basically how you build a plate. But say that you wanted something else, like some starch on your plate. We're kind of missing that, right? We just have straight vegetables, our imaginary meat right here. So if you wanted some starch, I have some sweet potatoes right here. 2 different sizes. Starch, rice, potatoes, pasta, bread, those type of things are carbohydrates. And I didn't even tell you. Yeah, okay, so this one is new. So I told you how to measure vegetables. That's by your fist. But we measure starch by our cupped handful. Okay? So for women, a healthy plate has 1 cupped handful of starch, rice, oatmeal, whatever it is. For men, a healthy plate has 2. But if you are trying to lose excess body fat, then a good rule of thumb is to either cut your healthy version in half or reduce it at least some. So I want a baked sweet potato to add to my plate. And so a cupped handful for me is this sweet potato. I could do that, and I'm good with that. If I wanted to reduce my starch to help me lose excess body fat, then I'm just gonna eat half of this sweet potato after it's baked. And in comparison to this is about 2 cupped handfuls. That would be too much for me, knowing that a cupped handful is my recommended amount for my plate. So you could kind of start thinking of your food in this way. So we're not really wanting to restrict ourselves from eating the things that we enjoy. If you enjoy macaroni and cheese, enjoy it. You're just being aware and really conscious of how much that you're eating, And then you're also making sure that you're adding the things that your body needs and wants to help you reduce the excess body fat. Okay, I hope that makes sense. We're about at the end of our session. So as a reminder, questions, please ask them. Comments, please share. We hope that you're finding these sessions informative. If there's anything that you want to know, let us know, because we could build that into the next session too. I would love to help you there. So if you leave a question or a comment, I will be reading it, and then I'm going to do a random drawing over the next 7 days, and I will alert you via the comments from FIT NU that you won a meal wheel guide. And so this is a meal wheel, or this is a tool to help you take the guesswork out of what to eat. So basically everything that I taught you today is done in a visual format. And so you're able to choose one protein, at least one carbohydrate or smart carb, and at least one healthy fat off of the wheel, so that you can start building plates that will help you release the excess body fat. So again, my name is Joslyn, head nutrition coach at FIT NU. Let me just look at this real quick. So does the starch replace the carbohydrate portion, or is it an added portion? Great question. Thank you for asking that. So when it comes to vegetables, they're unlimited. Like, just eat as many as you can. So at minimum suggestion is have at least 2 fists on your plate. So if you did that, then you have room to have a starchy carb if you wanted to add more to your imaginary situation right here. So then you can have your baked sweet potato and not be worried about exceeding your cupped handful or your 2 cup handfuls or whatever that you're going for. So yes, thank you for asking that question. Anything else? No? All right, it's been a pleasure spending some time with you all this evening. Take care and ask questions, ask questions, ask questions. We want to answer them. We'll see you guys in 2 weeks. Have a blessed night.